Our pace of living leaves us little time for leisure. Our program will give you a chance to experience the fascinating world of traveling, extreme adventures, hunting and fishing. Each week we will take you to the most beautiful places of Kazakhstan. On the previous edition of the program, we introduced you to the Ile River Delta. We sailed in a canoe boat from its origin near the Aralta Bay settlement towards the shore of Lake Balkhash.
Максимальная скорость.
That's the maximum speed.
Все.
That's it. Now at Fishing Area Delta we prepare for the third, final phase of the expedition.
Ну вот, наконец, я и на базе Дельта.
Here I am at Base Camp Delta. From here to Balkhash there's 15 kilometers. We don't have the road yet. There's ice, but tomorrow, together with owner of the base camp Valery Belyachenko, we'll try to get there down the Shubar-Kunant Creek. We have planned to reach the most remote and inaccessible part of the delta in order to see it as was in the distant past, when the Turan tiger was a predominant predator species on this territory.
В начале 20 века на Земле обитало.
In the early 20th century, there were about 100,000 tigers that related to 8 subspecies. Today, there are only 3,500 species left. 3 subspecies of the tiger went extinct, including the Turan tiger that used to inhabit the delta of the Ile River. The tiger was considered a harmful animal, and before the revolution the government encouraged the slaughtering of tigers by providing rewards of 25 rubles for each killed tiger, which was a considerable amount of money. During the times of the Soviet Union, the killing was officially encouraged too. The last Turan tiger was caught near Zhelturanga settlement in 1935. But the traces of the animals were also found up to 1948.
Извечная вражда людей, скотоводов к тигру.
Farmers' eternal hatred towards tigers as threat to their livestock led to complete extinction of the animals in the first half of the 20th century near all river floodplains of Central Asia. The same happened to tigers in their other habitats in the deltas of the Sirdarya and Amudarya, in the northern Caucasus, in Iran, Iraq and eastern Turkey. The reason for the extinction of these large cats is more or less the same: slaughtering tigers and decreasing their natural habitat by using them for livestock overgrazing and causing fires. In 2008, due to the initiative of the World Wildlife Fund, and with the support of the World Bank, the Global Tiger Initiative was set up. President of the World Bank, Robert Zelik, suggested an idea of holding an international forum at the level of the heads of states. This forum was successfully held in 2010 and was attended and supported personally by Vladimir Putin. In the forum, it was first announced that the government of Kazakhstan is interested in resurrecting the extinct species of the Turan tiger. In the same year of 2010, expert of the Wildlife Fund Hartmut Jungus published the analysis of the possibility of resurrecting the population of the Caspian tiger in Central Asia, in which experts approved the availability of 500,000 hectares of land in the southern near Balkhash area, suitable for reintroducing the tiger. Later on, an opportunity of bringing a few Amur tigers to Kazakhstan free of charge was discussed with the Russian officials. These tigers, according to experts, have the same genome as the Turan tiger, being even identical to them. Experts expressed their thought that setting this ambitious project will draw more attention to the state of the Ile River Delta from the international community and will be beneficial to the relationships with the southern neighbor regarding water management between the two countries. The aim of our journey is to understand what is happening to the delta of the Ile.
Итак, цифры. Первая цифра, которую необходимо запомнить, 341.
Here are some figures. The first number that is important for Lake Balkhash is 341. It indicates the water level over the level of the Baltic Sea. This level, 341 meters, is considered critical for the existence of the lake. Scientists expressed their concern over the current lake level. They think if it is lower than now, it will meet the destiny of the Aral Sea.
Многие территории в пределах областей, делящих между собой или Балхашский речной бассейн.
Many territories within the region of the Ili-Balkhash River Basin, such as Almaty, Zhezkazgan, Karagandi and partially eastern region, are situated in an arid zone. This means water in these regions is critically important. So the level of water in Balkhash is an ecological indicator of the state of the whole lake and the state of the Ili-Balkhash Basin. In the 20th century, Balkhash experienced significant fluctuations in the level of its water. In the early 20th century and from 1956 to 1968, it had a considerable increase in the water level, which is called transgression. Water level in Balkhash rose to 343.8 meters, and its area increased to 19,000 square kilometers. However, during the drought from 1930 to 1940, the level fell to 341.3 meters, and its square shrank to 16,000 square kilometers.
За последние 2000 лет уровень Балхаша опускался.
Over the past 2000 years, the level of Balkhash water rose and fell by 12 meters. But until now, those fluctuations were due to natural and climatic changes, and there was no reason to worry about them. In 1969, the Kapchagai hydroelectric station was built. It divided the Ili to two parts, the upper and lower canal pounds. That had a dramatic impact on the region. The Kapchagai Dam started to accumulate water, and by 1969 and the 1st of January in 1985, it had reached the amount of 13.9 cubic kilometers, or 50% of what had been projected.
Основная часть водосбора реки Или находится на территории Китая.
The most part of water of the river is taken and used on the territory of China. Till the end of the 80s, the area of Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomy was populated by 1 million people, and the amount of water that was kept in the dam accounted for 3 cubic kilometers. In comparison, on the territory of Kazakhstan at the same time, the amount of used water made 7 cubic kilometers.
Расходы хозяйственные воды составляли 7 кубических километров.
As a result of all these factors, the supply of water to Balkhash decreased by 12 cubic kilometers a year. The level of the lake dropped below the acceptable level and comprised 340 meters above the Baltic Sea level. This caused a decrease of 2,500 square kilometers. From 16 lake systems, now only 5 exist. The area of riparian forests declines by 40%.
В очередной раз ситуация изменилась в начале 90-х годов. Во-первых,
the situation changed one more time in the early 1990s, this time for the better. First, because the government signed a refusal to continue to accumulate water to the projected level. Secondly, because of the agricultural crisis after the USSR had collapsed, less water was used. And the third reason is the beginning of recurrent transgression climatic phase. In the mid-1990s, the total amount of water flown into the basin reached its initial level, and in 2005 there was a 25 cubic kilometer rise in the level of water, so that local people residing near the dam had to move their homes and build bridges. Those who were on the right bank can still remember the famous 7 bridges over the Karoy. The trouble came to the near Balkhash area quite recently, in 2012. Once the water level dropped by 20 centimeters, and everyone thought it was good that they had a road from the Karoy again, we thought it would be covered with water again in the spring, but that did not happen. On the one hand, traveling across the areas that were creeks and ana branches in the recent past without using dilapidated bridges is good for cars that may otherwise would have been damaged. But on the other hand, all cars put together from Almaty and the Almaty region are nothing compared to the threat to 3 million people that is imposed by the dried river old bridges.
Основная стокообразующая часть бассейна реки Или расположена на территории КНР.
The main inflow of the Ili River basin is on the territory of China. From Kazakhstan's side, a few medium-sized rivers flow into the Ili, for example the Usek River, which carries waters from the Turan in Jungar Alatau. But most rivers that originate from the slopes of Zaili and Kungey Alatau, such as Chilik, Isik, Turgen, Talgar, Kaskilen and Kurti, are almost all used for watering crops and household needs, and they do not reach the Ili River. In the lower part of the Ili River, below the Kapchagai station, the river flows into a desert zone and doesn't have any inflows. No inflows below Kurtim. The Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomy region is populated with more than 1 million people, like in the 80s. The government of China plans to turn the region to the largest regional and economic and industrial center. The population may grow up to 20 million people. This will inevitably lead to a dramatic increase in the water use. Near the Ili, dozens of hydrotechnical constructions are being erected now. Deep concern is expressed over changing the direction of some of the drains from the Ili towards arid regions of the Tarim Valley, Lake Sabinur and Lopnor. In order to get to the most remote and inaccessible part of the delta, we have to bring the boat on a boat trailer and then pull it on ice and later on narrow delta paths. Loaded with the boat, we start. Part of the canes has been burned. The riparian forests are burned purposefully, so there is more space for livestock. Mikhail and Viktor are experienced guides. They know these sites inside out and lead us towards the lake confidently where we should start sailing. Mikhail and Viktor are sure that there are isolated islands that haven't been explored well yet. Because the place is extremely difficult to access, it has not been researched. One of the first descriptions of the river were published by a renowned explorer of Central Asia, Chokhan Valikhanov. He traveled to some of the terrains of the river valley. Floodplain rivers carry rock sediments from the slopes of the mountains to the lake. Part of these deposits settles on the shores, making them suitable for abundant vegetation. As river estuaries get filled with alluvial sediment, the proportion of the water level in inflows may be different, and the amount of water in drains is different too. After ages of settling the sediment, the river bed of the delta may get shallow in places so that water finds new ways. Last time when this happened was a few hundred years ago, when the river changed its direction and formed the current one. The formation of the new delta, with its banks and riparian forests, took hundreds of years. When these changes happen at this pace, the ecosystem adjusts flexibly to the changing environment. This has been happening for ages, and there was nothing wrong with that. But in the second half of the 20th century, mankind achieved advanced technologies, which allowed us to make a relatively fast impact on large areas. For example, after the construction of the Kapchagai hydro station, the Ili River water got a lot clearer as all the sediments were kept at the dam, making the river delta short of the beneficial deposits which had been supplied with the muddy river current. Having pulled the boat across about 30 lakes and ana branches, we are impressed by the length of the labyrinth called the Ili Delta. And if one day you hear a tiger roaring, this will be a new chapter for their development.